and welcome to Chaotic Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and I'd like to welcome to the show today Spread Eagle bassist Rob Deluca. Welcome to the show once again, Rob. How you doing?
Hey, Jason. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now, in prepping for the interview, I was reading up on you last night, and I came across the fact that you started playing the guitar at the age of 15. I was curious. Talk a little bit about starting out on the guitar and the decision to switch to the bass.
Okay, well, back then we didn't have YouTube, so it was harder to get good.
Yeah.
And it was a little more mysterious of how you got good. And I guess 15 might be a little late, but
yeah.
That's when I started. And I played guitar for a handful of years. I was living in Wilmington, Delaware, and I decided I wanted to get more serious about it, but I didn't know how. So I decided I was taking guitar lessons from this guy locally, and I decided I wanted to go to music school. And I told him, and he said, I just got some kid into Berklee College of Music. And I was like, that's one of the ones I've been hearing about. So he said, if you give me a year, I can teach you a method that will get you in, like a foundation of what you would need to know to go there.
Yeah.
And you could, if you could show them that, you'll get in. So I studied with him for another year. I haven't been with him for that long. Maybe I was with him for a year or so.
Okay, wow.
I stuck with him. Pardon?
I said, wow.
Yeah. And so I studied with him for an additional year on this particular method. It was just basically a method of knowing the whole fretboard and all the chords to theory involved with chords and scales and stuff. And I got into Berklee, so I went there, and I was studying guitar and piano and voice, and I met Paul DiBartolo, guitar player of Spread Eagle, and a future guitar player of Spread Eagle, and he was looking for a bass player, and I was like, well, I play guitar. We were, kind of friends from the party scene, and I was like, well, I play guitar, but his band was popular, and he was popular, and I was like, okay, I'll do it and just have some fun. But as soon as I did it, I loved bass so much more than I didn't want to go back to guitar. Almost
like the bass was calling to you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I just didn't know it.
What do you think about the bass that made you feel so comfortable, like that was your instrument?
The thunder of it.
Yeah.
The absolute thunder and the woodiness of the tone of it. It was just so cool.
Was Spread Eagle, when you met Paul, was it already an existing band, or did you guys form the band together?
No, we went through some bands in Boston. That's where Berklee College of Music is in Boston. Yeah. And we went through some different bands, and then we found Tommy Gallo up there, and then we moved to New York City, and we found Ray, and that's when Spread Eagle was born.
Now, you mentioned going to the Berklee School of Music. That's where a lot of famous musicians get their start. Oddly enough, besides meeting Paul, did you meet anybody else that would go on to, find success like you guys?
I think JD from Black Label was in my dorm.
Oh wow! See,
possibly even on my floor or a floor near me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people
talk about it. Yeah, and and obviously, Spread Eagle was forming at the time in the late '80s. Probably the two places that bands would typically go to are, if you wanted to make it, would either be Los Angeles or New York. So, what took you guys to New York? Was it a little bit of that?
It was just chance. Yeah. We were in Boston. We were showcasing for all the labels, and we couldn't get signed. And it was just time. We had exhausted all our possibilities in Boston.
Okay.
And this is in hindsight. I didn't realize this at the time.
Yeah.
So Paul DiBartolo, our guitar player and band leader, his girlfriend moved to New York to attend NYU, New York University. And he quit the band and followed her down. And then he joined a band with Ray, an existing band, that didn't work out, and then he called me up, and we started writing songs for Spread Eagle.
And so
Tommy and I moved down shortly after.
So from the time the band got back together, how much of his stuff was written? I mean, did you write like a batch of those songs, and then how long was it till you guys got your record deal?
We had about 5 songs written when we got signed.
Oh wow!
The story online is 100% true. We moved to New York. We were coming down and doing demos in the fall of like '88.
Okay.
And we moved here on February 1st, 1989, and we found Ray pretty quickly. And we booked some gigs locally, like not in New York City, but locally in New York State, New Jersey, things like that.
Yeah.
And one of our managers, Charlie Gambetta, knew a bunch of people at record labels, and he invited a couple down to see us in this basement where we were rehearsing. And they were all really interested in the band. Like the first day, I think it was RCA, a division of RCA, was like, we really like the band, we'd like to see you again. And we were like, wow, we just wanted to get a little, advice.
Yeah.
And then the second day, MCA came down and said, we want to sign you tomorrow. And then that continued for about another week or two of labels coming almost every day, and most of them were interested. But we ended up going with MCA because they wanted to sign us on the spot.
Kind of reminds you of Leonard Skinner's song, Working for MCA.
Yeah, exactly. Love that song.
Yeah, but so like once, the band, releases the debut album and you start touring that album, I mean, it seemed like the band was getting a lot of serious attention at that time. What would you say was the point of, the debut album to when, things started to kind of turn for the band?
It turned for the positive or for the negative?
I guess let's start from the beginning. So for once the album comes out and you start touring behind the album, what's the point when you realize people are starting to listen to our album and what we're doing?
Well, taking from where I left off, we got an offer from MCA without just trying to get some advice.
Yeah.
So canceled those local shows. We went right in the record plant studio, started recording. We had 5 songs at the time. So we were writing like crazy, in the studio, in the weeks before we were set to go in the studio, we were writing like mad. And we released the record in the spring of '90, and we didn't have a video budget yet.
Yeah.
The album wasn't out, and we decided to make our own video for Scratch Like a Cat, and that went right on Headbangers Ball.
Oh wow!
Before the album was out, and we got a tour with Vane.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I thought that was when it was started, but then when Switchblade Serenade video came out, and we got a good budget to make it, that's when I started seeing, this could happen.
Oh wow!
And
And when you guys were recording the debut album, did you feel like you were given the freedom to kind of, go in and write the songs the way you wanted, or did you have people from a label kind of trying to mold the band and tell you guys what you should be?
They didn't mold us at all.
That's great. Yeah,
that was our vision.
Yeah, that's totally great. And so I guess the next question is, because a lot of those bands that kind of came at the tail end of the 80s and early 90s, once grunge hit, a lot of those bands started to kind of I don't know if you want to say get forgotten about, or people just started, paying attention to all the grunge music that was all of a sudden available. What was the point when you realized, okay, maybe it's time for Spread Eagle to take a break?
I never felt that.
Okay.
I never quit the band. Everyone else quit around me.
Yeah.
I never felt that. I felt like...
Let's keep going, right?
Yeah, well, in the music business, you choose the people that you have your best...
chemistry with.
Yeah, that too, but what I was going to say is you have your best chance of success with. You choose them, and that involves chemistry and how you get along and all that, musicality. You choose them, and you stay together for as long as it takes, even if it takes a year, or if it takes 20 years.
Yeah.
That's my approach to the music biz. So I never felt that.
And I guess where I'm going with that. That's one reason I respect talking to a guy like you, Rob, is you're one of these guys that I guess I'm just hearing you say that obviously is in it for the long haul. And so when the band, what year did the band kind of reunite and get back together?
We broke up in around 94. We got back together in 2006.
And come 2000...
started planning to get together probably in 2005.
Okay, so come 2005, I'm assuming it was probably you that got in contact with the other guys and said, hey, let's try to put the band back together?
Yes, Ray West and I, yes.
And what was that process? What I mean is, were you surprised, or did you have a pretty good feeling that the fans would be ready for, like, it was time for Spread Eagle to come back?
Yeah, I mean, because we had taken 11 years off, and I think the fact that we kept hearing people say that, we need you back, was influential. So I did think that was the case.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you guys are still out there on the road doing it, I mean, it does prove that you're in it for the long haul, and I think that's why people are still coming out to see Spread Eagle now. That's kind of why we're talking to you today, is because you sent me out a press release that the band's getting ready to kick off a tour, I think, next week. So talk about the upcoming tour and what you guys have planned.
Yeah, it actually started this past Friday night.
Okay.
Saturday night in Delaware. And we have this upcoming Saturday in Denver. We have the next Wednesday in New York City, the next Friday in Revere, Massachusetts, the next Friday in New Jersey. So we got Europe next year. We got Jersey in the new year. So yeah, we're booking a lot of shows. We're going to announce some other European shows soon. So yeah, we're calling it the Subway to the Stars tour, which is our newest album that we didn't get to tour because of COVID, so we're touring it now. So
that's what I was going to ask. How new is the latest album? Did it come out right before COVID?
Right before COVID, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay. And you have you released any singles off that, or you plan to have any videos for it?
We have a video for the song Sound of Speed, and we have probably 3 other singles that we've released off of it.
Oh,
you can hear it all on Spotify. It's really, really great record. We're very, very proud of it.
That's cool. Now, Rick DeLuca, is he? I couldn't remember. Is he your brother, or are you guys cousins? Okay. And what's it like having your cousin in the band?
It's pretty cool. I mean, he's also a lifer, so
yeah.
So I trust his
input.
I trust his motivations.
Yeah, and Ray, I know, I forget what the name of the band is, but he also got another band on the side that I think they're pretty. They got a pretty cool sound, and I know you've been involved with other stuff on the side, but Spread Eagles always seem to be kind of your number one priority. But one of those things you got involved in 2005 is you joined up with Sebastian Bach's solo band. How did you first hook up with Sebastian? Was it a matter of hearing there was an audition, for that he's auditioning bass players, or what was the process for you to hook up with him?
There was no audition. I knew Sebastian because he liked Spread Eagle back in the day.
Okay.
And we had met a handful of times. He got up on stage and sung with us once even, which was really fun.
Wow.
And I didn't stay in touch with him over the years, but then I got back in touch with him, and he mentioned he needed a bassist. So the process was I went in and did some rehearsals. His bassist at the time was Steve DiGiorgio.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who's now with Testament. And Steve couldn't do some rehearsals for a show they had in Mexico, so I just did the rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
And Steve flew to Mexico for the show. And then after that, but Steve was quitting. So so then after those rehearsals, after that show, then I did the next show.
And I know you've done plenty of touring with Sebastian as part of his band, but have you got a chance to play on any of the albums or write with him?
No. He uses his guys for those, and
okay.
That's okay.
And then you were also in 2005, I know you joined up with UFO. Now, a couple of years back.
That was 2008.
Oh, 2008. Okay, thank you for correcting me there. But talk a little bit about that, because I know that's a great legendary band, and so they're legendary British rock band. So how did you hook up with those guys?
Well, Vinnie Moore, UFO's guitar player, and Ron Thal at the time from Guns N' Roses were friends, and Vinnie was asking around. The UFO's bass player, Pete Way, had problems getting into America.
Wow.
And it wasn't the first time. So Vinnie started asking around, and Ron mentioned he thought I would be a really good fit, and one thing led to another. Someone got me Vinnie's email address, and my brother-in-law knew Vinnie, so it was just a bunch of things at once coming together. And it was obviously a spot-on recommendation on Ron Thal's part, because it's lasted a long time.
Yeah, and I know, you must have been a huge UFO fan, like a lot of people growing up. So, did you already know how to play a lot of those UFO songs, or did you have to, really get into rehearsal mode and learn them?
I had to learn all of them. I didn't know how to play any of them, but I knew them. I saw them once when I was a kid in high school. So I was familiar with the music, but I didn't know how to play it.
Well, I know. I knew UFO announced a couple years back that they were doing a fair. Have they played the final gig yet?
No. Our singer Phil Mogg had a heart attack this summer.
Oh wow!
And we had to cancel the last leg of the farewell tour. So
that's pretty much it for now. Do you think they will do any makeup shows? Do you think, or does it kind of depend on Phil's health?
It definitely depends on Phil's health. I have no idea. I mean,
if they called you up, you do it.
If they want to do whatever they want to do, I'm interested in.
Oh wow!
So they know that.
Wow! Did you ever get a chance to meet the man you replaced, Pete Way, before he passed away?
I met him at Sweden Rock. Yes.
Oh wow!
When we shared, we both played that festival in the summer of, I'm gonna say 2019.
Yeah.
It was 18 or 19. We both, his solo band and UFO both played, so I met him then.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
We said hi to each other.
Yeah, and getting back to Sebastian Bach for a moment. Recently I know, I think it also was before the COVID hit, that you guys were going to go out and do like a 30th anniversary tour of a Slave to the Grind album. Did you ever get a chance to do any of that?
We did. We actually did a solid 3-month tour for that in the fall of 2021.
Oh wow! And and I bring that up because as you were saying, Spread Eagle and Skid Row were kind of both breaking around the same time, and it's amazing to see that you're still going out with Spread Eagle, and you got a chance to play all those great Skid Row songs from that time.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun. Yeah, Skid Row came out before us. I'm not sure which year in the late 80s. Spread Eagle came out in 1990. Our debut, Slave to the Grind album, came out 11 months later in 1991. And then our Open to the Public album came out probably 1992, I would guess.
Oh, wow. And now, correct me if this is wrong, but I was reading last night, and this, I think, just goes to prove what a rock and roll road warrior you are. It said in 2006, when touring with Guns N' Roses, Rob played bass for both Sebastian Bach and Ailment, who were both opening up for Guns N' Roses on the same tour.
That's true.
Wow, I mean, man, you must have been really sweating it up that day.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn the material on the spot because we were in Canada and their bass player couldn't get in. He had prior marijuana charges something, and they wouldn't let him in the country for a show that night. Yeah. So I had to learn their set also. Yeah. It was pretty intense, but it was fun.
And I imagine, having played with Sebastian and knowing those Skid Row songs and those Sebastian Bach songs, you pretty much already knew how to do that. But how familiar were you with the Helmet material?
I was familiar with it, but it's all odd time signatures, it's really hard to learn.
And other things I want to ask you about, I'm not aware. I was reading that you've played with Joan Jett over the years. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Like in a touring capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was around the turn of the century, I believe.
Oh, okay, wow. And
just some fill-in shows. It was great. She's awesome.
Yeah, and I was reading that you've done some work with George Lynch. I wasn't aware of that. Was that some recording sessions, or what was that?
I toured with him in 2004 and also this year, 2022.
Yeah, and so, that just, all these things that you've been involved with over the years, it kind of shows that I think all these other bands, all these other musicians see not just what a great bass player and songwriter you are and overall a great musician, but, other people have had their eye on you. And so that says something about your professionalism, your ability as a musician, to do what you do.
Yeah, I try to show up and do what I'm hired for. Because it sounds simple, but a lot of people have a problem with that.
And so let me ask you, Rob, you talking about at the top interview how you start out on guitar and you switch to the bass, and at one point you really felt like the bass was calling you, this is your instrument, you love the thunder of a bass. Who were some of your favorite all-time bass players when you were growing up that you would say really kind of influenced you to do what you're doing now?
I really didn't listen much to bass.
Okay.
So it's hard to say when I was growing up, if I was influenced by bass players at all. I mean, I obviously was subliminally by, like Paul McCartney and John Entwistle and Cliff Williams of AC/DC and John Paul Jones and all the classic greats. Leon Wilkeson of Leonard Skinner. But I didn't learn. I never really was a cover band guy. I'm not saying I've never played in a cover band, but I wasn't that. So I didn't really learn many bass players or bass songs, and that could be a good thing in developing your own style, but it could also be a bad thing, where you may not get, a certain bass vocabulary that is somewhat universal,
Oh yeah, I think one thing, and just talking to you and getting to kind of know your story a little better, is that the fact that you start out on the guitar, you play the bass, you've learned how to play the piano and other instruments. I mean, another cat that kind of reminds me of is either Eddie Van Halen or like even Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads, if you were to ask him, he'd probably tell you he's much more into classical music. That's kind of what he grew up on. Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, even Eddie Van Halen, as I said, these guys all started out on the piano. They're known as great, guitar shredders, but people probably be surprised. Eddie Van Halen could not read a lick of music, but look what he did with the guitar.
Yeah, it's incredible, right?
Yeah. And I think what all those guys have in common with you is they're all great songwriters, which kind of leads me up to the question I'm getting ready to ask, which is, while you're primarily known as being a great bass player, do you kind of think of yourself more as a songwriter, if you know what I mean? Because I know that's something that you're also known for your songwriting.
I definitely think of myself as a producer songwriter more than bass player.
Yeah. And so,
I don't know if other people, think of me that way, but that's how I think of myself.
Well, I mean, I dare say that, that you're one of, you and Ray West and all the guys, but I think like you two guys are kind of very much like the, Steven Tyler and Aerosmith, what Steven Tyler and Joe Perry are to Aerosmith. I mean,
thank you.
You guys got the writing and the chemistry, and I think if you were to even take the bass player, Rob Deluca, out of the band, and put in a new bass player, maybe just as equally as talented, it's going to change the sound. It's going to alter the sound,
Yeah, it always does. If you take anyone out and replace them, it always does. But that's, that's why what I said, you pick the people that you get along with that have your best chance of success, and you stay with them, and you never break up. That's my attitude about the music business. You never break up.
And so, are all the guys from the original Spread Eagle still in the band, or have any been replaced?
The guitar player
Paul
and drummer are not the original members.
Okay, yeah. And I'm assuming that's just because they're involved in other things, or they weren't interested.
Yeah, it's different reasons. We're all still real close.
Yeah.
I like to believe that we're all still real close. We talk online, and I'm doing a show with the original drummer in a week or two.
Oh, that's exciting to hear.
2 weeks. But, well, the guitar player, I asked him every time we were looking for guitar players, because there was a few different times where we were looking for guitar players, and he's moved on to different styles of music, and he lives in India.
Yeah. Oh,
and
wow.
Drummer, I was, he didn't have Wi-Fi or anything for a lot of years. He was living off the grid.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So when I was looking for a drummer 12 years ago, I was unable to get a hold of him. Yeah. I left him messages, but he didn't return.
And so, having Rick in the band, I want to ask you about that. So, did you kind of how did he come back? Was it a matter of you just saying, "Oh, Rick plays the drums, we'll get him," or did he say, "Hey, how about me?" What was that like? Getting him into it.
Well, it was just time. You know, we haven't been in a band
together.
We were playing together in a band called Up Earth, but that happened after, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't been. You know, we haven't been together musically. We had our separate projects, so it was time. And
you know, Spread Eagle, like we said, all these years later, you guys are still out there touring, and that's a great thing. And I didn't realize you guys had the new album out. I'm gonna definitely check that out. And
very good.
So you want to let people know where they can find you guys online, and if they do want to get a hold of the new album, what's the best place to do that?
Yeah, you can find us on Spotify. Just Google us. We're easy to find. We have videos on YouTube. You know, we're on Facebook, all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, and we're playing this Saturday night, December 3rd, I believe, in Denver, Colorado, and we're playing next Wednesday in New York City at Orleans Grocery, and we're playing the Friday after that in Revere. That's a place called Sammy's, Revere, Massachusetts, and then the following Friday we're at Dingbats in New Jersey.
Right up until the Rocket New Year, huh? I mean,
right up to Christmas. Then we take our break.
What a great Christmas gift, giving your fans for them to give them one more chance to come see the band. You know,
they're giving me the gift, believe me, of just being able to play for them.
Oh, sure. I mean, and that's a great attitude to have, you know, Rob. And that leads me to my next point I'm going to make, which I think the interesting thing about Spread Eagle, you guys are one of those bands that, you know, you're considered a rock band, hard rock band, whatever you want to call it, but you guys have, I think, the beautiful part of being able to go out with different types of bands. You know, you're not strictly just opening for other hard rock or metal bands. I think you have all, like, you could go and open up for a Joan Jett show or something like that, you know?
Absolutely. We could play with metal bands, like, you know, Metallica type bands. We could play with glammy bands, you know,
and the fans will accept it. Yeah, the fans will accept it. That's the interesting thing, you know.
You know, like a LA Guns or a Faster Pussycat, we would work with them. We could play with straight up rock bands like AC/DC or, you know, Rhino Bucket or that style. We could, you know, we could even probably work with some modern bands.
Oh, sure. And I think the beautiful thing about the internet and the, you know, modern technology is, while you definitely have, you know, the diehard fans that have been with you guys since day one, I'm sure, like a lot of bands that are still out there doing it, you got people discovering you guys just through your latest album, and that's got to be a great feeling too. It kind of shows that while you got the diehards, you also got fans that are checking out what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's really cool. It is.
Yeah, and you know, that's the other thing about the internet is, you know, you probably get people sending you messages halfway around the world to parts, you know, other countries where you haven't even stepped foot in, and it's like, wow, they're checking out our music and our band, you know.
Yeah, I've been in most countries though.
Wow.
But it's really nice to get people overseas into it.
And I hear like a lot of the European fans, I don't know if this is the right word, but are a lot. They really have a love for their rock music and their rock bands, and I don't know, they're a little more loyal maybe overseas than they are here in the United States.
Well, I think heavier music is a little more popular in Europe than in USA.
Yeah. Well, Rob, it was great talking to you. I'd love to do it again. Maybe once I have a chance to check out the new album, I'd like to talk to you again about talk about the new album, some of the songs, you know, in greater detail.
Yeah, we could go through each song if you like.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. So let me do my homework, and maybe after the first of the year, I will get in touch and we can do that. Okay?
Sounds great, Jason.
Take care. You have a nice day. And like I said, the interview we just did is going to be getting posted sometime in the next 2 weeks. I will let you know once I have a date for that.
Okay.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.